Should we do our favorites of
Sure.
2024?
Why not?
All
What
right.
are we? Who's going first?
Do you want to do? We have 3 categories: movie, TV, and games.
I
Which
have I'm going to say this right now. I have 0 movies on my list.
I have 0 TV.
I have 0 games.
I have no.
We did
movies.
it.
I went to the movie theater once in 2024, so I guess I could count that as a movie that I would put on because I didn't.
You
hate
watch
it.
so many like things on your services. Those are
Yes,
movies.
they're movies.
I know. I watch them, and I can't even like. There's nothing that stands out in my brain. That's how forgettable movies have become. That nothing stands out in my brain as saying this was the movie that I watched this year that I really enjoyed.
Your number 1 movie
What?
of the year was Yacht Rock.
I mean, yeah, I really enjoyed the Yacht Rock
This is
documentary,
easy.
the Paul Simon documentary.
Yeah, those are movies,
Is it?
dude.
Those are movies.
I guess. So anyway, go
I can't-
ahead. Pick a
Why
movie.
didn't you make the list of movies?
I whatever.
You ruined it.
Okay.
You can come back. You can come back
You can
next
come
week
back.
with some movies.
Okay,
Right.
I'll come back with a
Everybody
movie.
can just make their list of everything that Wombat's talked about
Mhm.
Wait, what?
this last
Right. Everybody
year.
we can have AI scrub through it.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's the Beatles one. That one was on there. Beatles 64. That one.
That's on my list.
That's on your list. Sorry, I'm
Oh,
ruining
you
your
watched
list.
that?
I did watch that. I talked about it on the show, I think.
No, you didn't. No, you said you might check it out after I talked about
I
it.
watched it. I think we watched it during the break, actually.
And
It's on my list. I guess it's in, let's say I have a top movie, a top 2, and we'll say that like the rest are just, I have 5 on my list, and say the Beatles is in my top 5. It's really awesome to see like that slice of history, 1964, in like, real footage. Just all you're watching is footage from that era and listening to the Beatles talk about it as it's their first trip to America. And the most amazing thing, to me, the most amazing thing about it was the reaction of the girls and the women. It was like you're watching them discover their sexuality like in real time. Did you get that when you were watching
no,
that?
it,
Like
that was
they're
that's very
melting.
true.
They're like, I know the screaming part. Like we all have seen like the girls screaming when they get off the airplane and at the concert. It's like, that's a lot. But they have like footage of like teenage girls watching the Beatles on TV in their house. And you watch this girl, she's not screaming, but she's just like melting into her hand. Like she's like glowing. Like she's discovering her sexuality while watching these guys play music on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And in the background is her brother or her uncle or her father, I don't know. And to them, they are just not understanding it. And that's what the whole thing was about. That's like Beatlemania is about. And it's just wild to watch that. Like, and so it's a great movie. It's a great movie. What was that, on the Disney Channel or some shit?
Yes, it's on Disney Plus.
I don't know why that's there, but it's
because
worth.
they have all
They
the
have one for every
they have all the
streaming
Dis-
service.
They have
Oh,
all
do
the
they? Is that
Beatle
what it
rights.
is?
They have all the Beatle footage rights.
Yeah, it's just really interesting to see like that time period compared to today.
I mean, I could
Like,
talk about it for an hour. So
yeah, we can talk about that off the air because it was interesting, but I probably
There's a
forgot it all.
lot. I mean, historical context wise, there's a lot going on there. It being post JFK assassination
Yeah.
and shortly thereafter, and it wasn't even that long after that. Also, the popular music at the time pre Beatles was not stuff that it was a lot of like standard style music.
Right.
In the late 50s, early 60s, there is that rock and roll era. Your Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, early Elvis kind of rock and roll stuff, and that came and went fairly quickly. It's 58 to 61, 62 maybe.
When did Elvis die?
Elvis died in 77.
Okay, he was like pretty hot in '64 or no?
Elvis was in the army.
Okay,
So they ship Elvis off to Germany to basically for the reason of girls like, exactly what you were saying. And they were going to do other things. And Colonel Tom was like, what if he joined the army?
Right.
So he joins the army, he goes away for a year or two, and then he comes back and he just does movies. And Elvis just does movies basically until 1968, which is that's its own crazy story. And another documentary that I watched this year is the Elvis the 68 comeback special documentary,
Right.
that I believe is on Peacock.
Yeah.
Good documentary.
Yeah, I knew that was in your top 5 as well.
Yeah. I know. I watch a lot of music documentaries.
I know you do, which is why it's crazy that you said you had no movies on your list.
Right. You probably watch more movies than all of us put together. Ship, any movies that stuck out for you? We can just sort of rotate through our top.
Oh, what are we starting at?
Start
Number
at
5.
Yeah, I mean you can. Yeah, I'd say like my Beatles. I put Beatles as number 3 on my list.
Number 3.
I think we're doing top. We're doing top threes. We're doing
top 3.
Top threes.
Top threes.
Ooh.
Well, I have a lot for TV, so we have to do like a lot more.
You can do all the honorable mentions you want.
You can give some of those TV ones to me.
Okay, fair enough.
Top 3 movies is what we're at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can do top 5. I have 5.
My number 3. No.
Okay.
I'm a rule follower. 3. Number 3.
Yeah.
My number 3 movie was Transformers 1.
I fucking knew it.
Yep.
I was having dinner with Mrs. Chibi tonight, and I said I actually thought it was gonna be number 1, but I was at least I was close. All right, tell us about Transformers 1.
Transformers 1,
and also tell us your age. Hold up your driver's license.
I mean, part of this also is like, yes, I watch a lot of kids movies,
you have to,
right?
Yes.
Or family movies.
Yeah.
And I went into this one like expecting the worst because the trailers for it made it seem super dumb and and very cringy and very hokey, and went in and really enjoyed the entire movie. And
am I going to enjoy this if I watch this by myself?
I don't know. I think it's pretty solid. Am I gonna? There's some good stuff in there.
All right. Is Devastator in there or what? No, he comes later. He wouldn't be in there. He wasn't made yet.
Yeah, Devastator's not in the film.
No, he wouldn't be in there. All right. I would probably watch that. I don't know. I'm old and grumpy.
Right.
We'll see if I can pull it together.
Right. I want to watch it again. So
shit.
It's
all right, dude. Cool.
It's not high cinema. I had to really click through the Metacritic best movies of 2024 to find it.
Right. What was the Rotten Tomato score on that, or the Metacritic?
It started
score?
really high. I can't remember. I don't know. Let me look it up real quick. Transformers 1 Rotten Tomato.
It's gonna be. It's probably like it got good reviews. I think it was like an 80. Right.
It is.
I feel like I looked that up.
Where do I look this? Where does it tell me the numbers? There it is. The tomato meter is an 89. The popcorn meter is a 97.
All right, dude. I mean, the people have spoken and the critics have spoken.
Right.
All right. Let's see.
The people did not speak with the dollars, though, so we are probably not getting Transformers 2.
Didn't some Transformers video game just got canceled?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I saw.
Yes.
Was that going to be like a hero shooter? Was that what they were doing with that? I don't know.
I can't even remember because it's been so long since they showed something on that one.
I feel like that's what was being made then that would be ready soon. But I don't know. I would like a Transformers game. Sure. I can give you my number 2 movie.
Which was?
But here's the thing. I can swap this movie out because this movie is actually from 2023, but we watched it over the winter break here. So am I allowed to count it or not?
Sure.
Does it have a monthly battle pass?
No.
Is it DLC?
It's definitely not. It's Zone of Interest, the Holocaust movie. That's it's the plot is
you're gonna make us disqualify a Holocaust movie from this?
No, I mean you shouldn't. It was really good. So the whole point of this is really like, who gives a shit when the fucking thing came out? The point of these lists is to get you to watch good stuff, and this is some good stuff. So I'm just going to tell you about it. And also because I thought it was one of my favorite movies of the year, that I watched this year. The plot is the guy who runs Auschwitz. Shipwreck, you know what Auschwitz is?
I have heard of it. Yes.
Okay, that was like one of the. Was that the biggest concentration camp or one of the biggest concentration camps? It's the guy who was running that. His house is right outside of and next door to the camp. Okay,
did I watch this?
It was like an Oscar-nominated movie from last year.
I must have watched this. I think I watched this too.
Okay, you never talked about it. I don't think.
Keep going.
And so you're basically watching this this Nazi soldier who's running Auschwitz and his family do their family things while they live next door to all these horrors that are going on that you are witnessing in like how they would experience it. So like you're hearing like the gunshots in the distance and the dogs and the people yelling and like, yeah, I don't want to give stuff away, but like the chimneys firing at night and things like that. So Mrs. Cheapy pointed out that it like reminded her of a Stanley Kubrick movie, like the way it was shot, and I think I agree with her. Like
what was the name of this again?
Zone of Interest. The Zone of Interest. It's on Max, I think.
I think so too.
It's under 2 hours, which is always like a huge plus in my book. Like I think it was like an hour 45. It's just like it's like really cleverly disturbing. And it's all based on a true story. Like this really happened. Like this guy was a real guy. These things really happened that they're talking about. Like even like through his career that you see throughout the story, like these are things that really happened. It's crazy. Like the sound direction is really good too. Like
yes, I know this. I did watch this because I've read I read the book.
Wow. We don't know a lot about you, I feel.
There's another book too of short stories that is a very similar premise to this too, but it's a fictional tale of one of these officers that's run one of these concentration camps and is convinced that he was just doing his job, right? And it's like this is like years later type of thing. Yeah.
The thing about this is like it's all like so subtle. Like they never talk about that. You never hear anybody talking about like, are we the baddies? Are we doing the right thing? Anything. Anyway, that's Zone of Interest. I highly recommend you check that out on Max. It's fucking crazy good movie. And what else we got? Wombat, did you come up with some movies? I saw you Googling away.
I have a list of 5 now.
Yes.
So yeah, exactly.
Wait, now we're allowed to do 5? Now that you pulled up 5, the rules are just like
no,
whatever.
I'm just saying. I'll start with I will say In Restless Dreams is the music of Paul Simon.
Okay.
The Paul Simon documentary that kind of focuses on his life and how big a curmudgeon he is at 80 years old.
Yes.
And some things you forget about Paul Simon that I think he's aware people forget about Paul Simon, and I think what makes him a little curmudgeonly is, you hear Paul Simon's music and you're like, oh man, he sure was influenced by the Beatles. And then he turns around and goes, no, I was recording this before the Beatles. The Beatles were influenced by me.
Right.
And he's not wrong. It's, they were contemporaries and all of that kind of, you forget how long he's been doing it and when he really hit, and also how much he hates Art Garfunkel, which is kind of sad, and how that really, yeah.
Is that because he broke up? He didn't sing. He stopped doing music.
That was part of it. It's like they do talk about what happened after the concert in the park in '80, and how they were going to make an album together, and Art was in like Switzerland hiking the Alps, and he was going to record his harmonies in a studio in the mountains and mail them to Paul Simon, and Paul Simon was like, no, I'm not doing this, and he just released the album and just didn't have any of Art Garfunkel on it. It was just all Paul Simon.
Yep.
And it was like his first flop album too, so then he blamed Art for his first big failure as a musician, and it was like a whole thing. So, and then of course Graceland comes out after that, and you know, whatever.
You probably would have enjoyed Paul Simon on Howard Stern. You interviewed him like last year. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it was around the time of when the documentary came out. So
yeah, he's probably
he's an interesting person.
I would have watched that, but at the same time, I saw that it was like north of 3 hours.
It is really long, and I'll be honest. I mean, maybe it's just the way the documentary frames it, but if I was Paul Simon, I'd be happier. That's all I'm saying. Like, what do you really have to be unhappy about? You're worth $500 million. You
could be worth $1 billion.
Exactly.
Wrote a lot of good songs.
You live on a ranch for some reason because
Paul McCartney.
You're a little Jew from Forest Hills, so of course you live on a ranch.
Paul Simon. Oh, Paul Simon is the one that's a curmudgeon?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying Paul McCartney.
No, Paul Simon.
He's not.
Oh, okay.
Paul McCartney is not.
I was confused.
Paul McCartney is not a curmudgeon. Paul Simon is a curmudgeon.
God,
he's
I heard
very
Paul
grouchy.
McCartney.
He should be happier. That's all I'm saying.
He seemed okay on Howard. Like, I listened to that whole thing. It was like an hour interview. He was like, he seemed real. Like, he just seemed like, he didn't seem overly negative, but he didn't seem like he was going to like, polish a turd either.
The way that the documentary frames him. It's
fair
not,
enough.
I'll give that benefit of the doubt, but it is still a very good documentary and worth your time. So I'll put that at number 3.
What was that called again?
I think he's mad that they didn't make rock band Paul Simon.
Yes. In Restless Dreams, the music of Paul Simon. I mean, there's probably part of him that thinks that, because I think in his brain is that he, in the conversations that are about Bob Dylan and the Beatles, that he should be included in those conversations. And I don't disagree with him, but I also think that doesn't happen. So
right. I know that like Howard thinks he's like pretty awesome.
He's a genius. No, he is a genius who changed music.
All right, that's all we need to say then. Yeah. That's enough. That's plenty. All right, let's do some more movies. Let's go. We don't got all day. I got 10 TV shows to talk about.
Another movie. Did you guys see Inside Out 2?
Nope.
Or one. I didn't see one either.
Really? You haven't seen either Inside Out?
Neither have I.
Nah.
Wow. Pretty solid.
I don't want to cry watching a cartoon. I'm over that.
And you would be out on Bing Bong in the first one.
Bing Bong.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not watching
that. It's funny. I have Richard Kind in one of my things, but that's for later.
Yeah. I don't know. Inside Out 2, they're the Pixar movies that like it's at the level where you don't feel like they're like trying to get you to cry. Right? Like it's like part of the actual story. It's not like they're just like playing with your emotions, even though these movies are about literally that.
Right.
That's what Pixar does.
Yeah. But these are the well done Pixar ones. These are not the ones that you're like, oh, this is nothing but you trying to do that.
Yeah. I can't be crying during cartoons. Sorry.
You like hockey. That Inside Out 2 is about hockey.
It is? Why? How?
The girl plays hockey.
Figures. Girls don't play hockey. Come on. One of Ty's.
It's a big part of her character in both 1 and 2.
One of Ty's like best friends is a goalie, and ice hockey goalie. Should probably get into like a great school because of it too. Blah, blah, blah. What else?
What's your number 2, GV?
That was my zone of interest. Was my number 2.
Oh, okay. You're doing your number 1 now?
Well, I don't know.
Am I doing my number 2?
No, you said 3 movies. We're doing 3 movies now.
I know.
Okay, so I'm on my number 1 movie.
Okay, what's your number 1 movie? I only said 1. That's why I was confused.
No,
because you didn't have your list ready.
Yeah, dude. And then you changed the rules.
What's your number 2? What's your number 2 on that?
Do your number 2.
Okay, my number 2 is going to be. You know what? I'll do it. Actually, no, this was probably a little bit better. I'm going to say Return of the King, the fall and rise of Elvis Presley, which we already touched on briefly. That's the one that
sucks. He's not doing it
right. That's the one that has Bruce Springsteen and Conan O'Brien in it, and it's a good documentary. As Elvis? No, it's about what we talked about.
I thought it was like that Bob Dylan movie where all the different people were Bob Dylan.
No, that's another.
Wait, what's the name of this movie? I didn't even hear it.
This is Return of the King, the fall and rise of Elvis Presley.
That's the Lord of the Rings movie.
Yes. And
I'd like to add something to my TV now.
We didn't get the
It's-
TV yet.
I know, but this the Graceland Christmas special,
Okay.
Christmas at Graceland, that was good. I watched that.
Okay. You
Yeah.
can. I don't know. That's too old.
It was related.
That's too old.
It's in my top.
Anyway.
No. It was new this year.
Oh.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
There was a Christmas special that was at Graceland.
Mhm.
Who was there?
John Usher.
John Usher? Who's John Usher?
Not John Usher. John Legend. Sorry, John Legend.
Wow. I
I
feel
thought-
like that's somehow racist.
It's not racist at all.
Wait, how could that be racist? Make that racist. Let's see.
Yes, let's.
Please.
He's saying
How?
that John Legend and Usher are the same person.
Oh, okay.
Because they're-
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
It is racist.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I just combined the two of them in my head because they sing similar style
Uh-huh.
of music.
Uh-huh.
Between
Um,
this and the helicopter, I think you're canceled.
yeah, Alanis Morissette was on it.
Okay. Got it. Okay, that's fair enough. But we're not
yes.
on TV yet, so why even telling us?
No, we're
You're
talking about-
ruining
Because
it.
we were
saying.
talking about Elvis.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a
That was at
really
his
good
house.
it is a really good documentary that leads into the Elvis 68 comeback special, which I am mildly obsessed with because I think it's a fascinating piece of music, and as a TV special, as an album, and as a piece of historical context.
Where would I watch
Um,
this if I wanted to watch this?
That's on Netflix.
I
The
have that.
documentary. Yes.
Okay. I might watch that.
Return of the King, the Elvis documentary is on
Elvis.
Netflix. It's really good, especially if you're familiar with the 68 comeback special and what it meant for Elvis and what it should have meant for Elvis, which is another sad, depressing part of it. But it's really
Which you can find out in the Elvis movie from last year, starring
yes.
Tom Hanks.
Yes.
Have you seen yeah, you should watch that. I literally was just gonna say, no, not the Elvis movie. Priscilla. You should
I
watch
haven't seen
that.
that yet.
I haven't seen Priscilla.
It's good. I watched it. It was good.
I kind of like the documentaries more, but that's just me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like it was short though.
Okay. What's your number one?
Number one. Do you know? Can you guess?
That movie that you watched last week where the guy gets pulled over.
What? Guy gets pulled over?
Yeah, the guy gets pulled over and the cops steal his money.
No, not that. No, not that.
Okay.
No. It was Thelma. You remember Thelma, the old lady on the scooter movie?
I remember
Yep.
that.
That movie is so good that I still think about that movie.
June Squibb.
It's just it's hilarious. And it's like real. It's hilarious and real, and it's like will make you think about life and make you sad and depressed, but also laugh. And it's pretty good for an indie movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my number one. I highly recommend you watch that. Again, under 2 hours. What else? What's number one?
My
What's your number one?
Number one, Wicked,
Really?
Part One. Yes,
Are you holding space with that?
I have all of it.
It's holding
Um,
space at number one,
It is
not
So,
Transformers one.
That was a fantastic experience in the theater, and I'm looking forward to watching it here. I haven't watched it at home yet, but now that I got that same type of light kit you do,
Yes.
GP,
Oh,
I think it's going to be good for that.
I have a question.
Yes,
You said it was a fantastic experience in the theater.
yes.
What about seeing it in the theater made it a fantastic experience?
It's just the screen size,
Okay.
right? So,
And the sound.
and the sound's good there, but I've got good sound at home as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's it?
It's the experience too.
Like the people there added to the
Yeah.
experience, or
I think so. If you know that you're there and other people are enjoying it, like it adds to it.
yeah.
And you're drinking on your pink and green icy. And
You drank a pink and green icy while you were there?
Yeah, I did. I got the whatever shiz drink that was
Shiz.
yeah
Jizz?
shiz.
That's very close to jizz. They should be more careful.
That's it. You're right,
I
but
mean, that's what are they doing? All right.
I don't know the
I haven't been to
I
a
like a
theater
good
in a long
musical.
time.
I like a good musical. So like I don't know, the cinematography and the choreography in that movie are very good.
I'm skeptical.
Have you seen it yet? Have either of you seen it?
No.
No, I haven't. I know I'm terrible.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I liked that they didn't tell you it was part 1 until you'd bought the ticket and were in the theater, and the little like LED sign above the theater that you're going into says part 1, and you're like, what?
That's crazy. What are they doing?
I knew it was part 1.
You know everything.
Yeah,
That's true.
You just absorbed all this fucking shit.
How did you know it was part 1 though? You have to dig for that though.
I guess I just knew. I don't know.
Right, like because none of the advertising for it.
No, the advertising just says Wicked.
It just says Wicked.
Doesn't say Wicked.
They're wicked for not doing that. That's why it's called Wicked.
Womp womp.
What about was that your what was your number one, Wombat? Did you do that?
Nope.
Right,
my number 1 is Thriller 40. The documentary about the making of the Thriller album, which as someone who, I mean, I obviously I like the album Thriller, but it's not a go-to for me. I don't sit around going, oh, I need to listen to Thriller, but I found that so fascinating. There was so much I didn't know about.
How long is that one?
Thriller. That's an hour and a half.
I could do that, and I certainly listened to Thriller a ton when it came out. Like I just remember sitting in like my parents' rocking chair.
And it's like everything from what Michael Jackson contributed musically other than just singing, like what parts did he write and also what he brought in and what his concept was and what Quincy Jones's concept was. And to go in and, obviously, history sometimes rewrites itself, but to go in there with that, I'm going to make an album that has something for everybody and therefore everybody's going to love it was the thesis that Michael Jackson.
And we get royalties every Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, but basically it's kind of, but it's, I mean, who could, to say that is one thing. Like, I feel like everyone goes in trying to, like, I'm going to make something that everyone's going to like. And I'm going to have a song on this album where if someone says they like rock and roll music, I'm like, here's your rock and roll song. You say you like soul music, here's your soul song. I'm gonna cross barriers. I'm gonna get played on white radio. I mean, these were all the things he said he was going to do. And everyone looked at him and said, "Sure, Michael, whatever you say." And they were like, "You give it a shot." And he did, and he did it.
Wow,
and that's crazy.
Did he say he was gonna buy a monkey?
He didn't say he was gonna buy a monkey, but it's very interesting to see someone be able to say something so lofty and pull it off in a way where he knew who the right people were to bring in to get it to work. What were the pieces? Like, who do I need to make this work? Instead of just saying, how do I sit in a room by myself and do this? He was like, who are the people I need to make this right?
Who are the people I need to make this right?
Give me Quincy Jones. Give me Quincy Jones.
I need to buy a monkey one day. I need to have 10 hit songs. Otherwise, I won't be able to buy a monkey, and I can't have an amusement park in my house.
Was the We Are the World
how am I going to catch all these children?
That was on my list.
Yeah,
that did not make my top 3.
Yeah, that's an excellent one.
The Greatest Night in Pop.
Yeah,
that's where the monkey comes in.
The Greatest Night in Pop.
He's in that.
The Greatest Night in Pop. Also, if anything,
I'm not going if I can't bring my monkey.
They're definitely companion documentaries. That one's on Netflix, and that one is also totally worth your time if you don't know the story of We Are the World.
Right.
Yeah, because that one's amazing and also fascinating. So lots of good music docs this year, 2024, the year of the music doc.
I'm hoping there's more for you in 2025.
I hope so too. I don't know how you can top it.
I think so. I think they will be. I'm not sure, but I'm sure.
Actually, there's a big Led Zeppelin one that's supposed to come out soon.
Yes, I saw that. I would like to watch that as well.
Yeah, the Led Zeppelin one.
Being an old white guy.
We have that coming out.